In today's reading from Luke 9 to 10, Jesus deals with almost every category of sin and deceit in the human heart that keeps people from really experiencing life in Him. His disciples have seen Him cast out demons, heal lepers, cause paralyzed people to walk, even bring the dead to life. But somehow they can't trust Him to provide because they can't figure out how He could possibly find enough food to feed this big hungry crowd. Jesus then challenges the self-centered mentality of our world, telling them that people who live for themselves to preserve their own comfort, their own status, their own well-being, will never find life. The only way to find real life, Jesus says, is to put aside all selfish ideas about life and turn our hearts to follow Him completely. On the mountain of transfiguration, He shows them that it's not about having big spiritual experiences. It's about fixing their eyes on Him. His disciples get into an argument about which one of them is the greatest. They try to stop some guys from casting out demons because they weren't from the right group of disciples. And then when some Samaritans refuse to give them a place to stay as they're traveling through, James and John want to torch them with fire from heaven. Jesus says, guys, the greatest one in my kingdom is least in the eyes of the world. And don't fight against people on your own team. If they're not against us, they're for us. And James and John, hold your fire. I didn't come to destroy people. I came to save people. At the end of chapter 9, there are 3 potential disciples, but all of them were half-hearted in their desire to follow Jesus. And Jesus didn't come to call half-hearted disciples. He says, follow me completely. No excuses, no conditions, no reservations. When the disciples come back from a successful mission, they tell Jesus all about it. They said, Lord, it was incredible. We even had authority over demons. And Jesus says, that's fantastic. But don't get too excited about the miracles. What should really excite you is that your names are recorded in the book of life in heaven. In other words, it's not about getting power from me. It's about knowing me. Jesus tells them a story about a man who gets beat up, robbed, and left for dead on the side of the road. There was a priest and a Levite who were on their way to do really important things for God, who crossed to the other side of the road to avoid him. But then a Samaritan, and remember, Samaritans were seen as enemies of the Jews, as outside of the possibility of God's favor. A Samaritan stops and helps the man. He takes him to an inn, and he pays all of his expenses until the man is better. And Jesus says, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I want from you. And then finally, Jesus is having dinner at the home of Mary and Martha and Lazarus. And Martha's stressing about the details of hosting guests, while Mary is happily sitting at the feet of Jesus, hanging on every word that He says. And Martha says, Jesus, can you please tell my lazy sister to help me? She's leaving me all alone to get your dinner ready. And Jesus says, Martha, you're agitated about so many things. There's only one thing that really matters, knowing me. And that's what Mary's giving herself to. Doubt about provision, selfish ambition, seeking mountaintop experiences, competing for greatness, seeking revenge, making excuses about following Him because other things are actually more important, addicted to power, caught up in religion and lacking compassion, dedicated to working for Him but failing to hear from Him. And Jesus says the answer to it all is simple. You won't find it in those places. You'll come up empty every time. Only one thing matters. Come to me. Give me everything, and I will give you life.